Guilty Gear Strive character tier list. He put up his own tier list where he had his own opinions, and it seems like with this game, many people can't really decide on, exactly who is what, when, where, and why. So we're gonna get Mr. Gamerlift to go ahead and lay the lowdown. Did I say that right? Lay the lowdown? Lay the smack. He gonna tell you what's the right thing. So go ahead, Mr. Gamerlift.
All right. So before I get started, I'm on disclaimer because everybody's doing a tier list. What that tier list don't mean anything. What you doing there with the tier list? The game just came out. Okay, I understand that. So I don't want anybody being like, "Oh, hey, who you is? Huh? What you got? What tournament you won?"
All
Look,
of them.
okay. This is just from. I've been playing fighting games for a good bit, and I do think that I have a fairly good grasp on fighting games and characters and how to recognize certain things in characters and early on. Of course, things can change, but even in early stages, preliminary stages, infancy stages, whatever you want to call it in fighting games, there can be clear, definite things you can see that make characters pretty good, right? Of course, not just saying that, but playing. I've been playing this game nonstop lately. And even when I made this first and I was unsure about the last few characters because I hadn't played against them though, but now I've played against every character in the game. I think enough against fairly decent people enough that I can be like, okay, I can kind of assess how this character is and I'm looking at their tool set. So everybody's put up their tier lists. Most of them have kind of been the same, ish, what people think the characters are. I know there were some I think Japanese players. Some people Chip was the best character in the game. Some people's like no, everybody's on Soul. Soul this, Soul that, Soul bad guy, Soul, Soul, let your soul glow. Everybody's on Soul. And I understand it's understandable. The character is busted, broken, and disgusted. He got a lot of stuff. It's why does he have that? Clean hit DP. Why does he have a clean hit DP? I'm not sure, but I think he's the only character that has a clean hit DP. I don't know. The only 3-frame normal on the ground, if I'm not mistaken, or three frame normal period. So he got some questionable things. A lot of launchers and stuff. But so my tier list I made early on was I had S tier. I had in order at the time, and this was maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that.
We'll make sure to have it on the screen.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago or so that I posted this. That's why I had to make a disclaimer because I know somebody's gonna be like, man, these tier I understand it. And that's why I gave an explanation of what this list is and what I feel so far. And like I said, it's changed a little bit now because I've actually played against these characters a whole lot more. So yeah, this is about 2.5 weeks ago. So S tier, I had Ramlethal number 1, Soul number 2. This was the one that some of my friends was like, man, no, I'm this is my thing when it comes to looking at characters in the game. You got to look at what they have now, and you have to train yourself to look in the future, the long run. How is this character going to develop in the long run? Yes, right now there's always characters that you can definitively look at and say, hey, this character has a tool set that is really good and powerful early on, and it's clear, right? So the characters that I do think that even early on, where you don't even have to put a lot of effort in to really do stuff and win and get success, May, Soul, Ramlethal, Chip, Leo. I probably put Chip and Leo at the back of that, but Ray, I said Ray, May, Ramlethal, and Soul. These are 3 characters you can just do basic random stuff sometime and just kind of come out on top. There are other characters in the game where you can't really do that. One being Foss. Foss, you can't really just do it. You have to play really specific with Foss. And that's why a lot of people saying he's the worst character in the game. I don't typically think he's as bad as people are saying he is. I'm not saying he's the best, but I think he has the tools to compete. But you have to play that character enough to learn how to use those tools to play against some of these other characters. Now, on paper, initially, what you're looking at with these characters, yes, he's probably the worst because a lot of stuff he has. But once you play the match enough, you kind of learn little small tidbits and nuances. Oh, I can use this to get around that. With some characters, you don't have to think that hard. You don't have to be what man, I'm having to like go and look at my whole roster of tools to figure out how to deal with this one move from this one character, but this other character, they can just do anything and they just have an answer for it. A character like Foxy can't do that. So again, my tier list was Ramathal, Soul, May, Leo, and Chip. Those are my 5 in S tier. A tier, Potemkin, Giovanna, Kai, Axel, Milia, Nagaruyuki. B tier, I had Zato, which now I think I'll put Zato like probably B plus or A minus or something like that. Anji, Ino, they were all in B tier, and I had Faust in C tier. But again, I've had 2.5 more weeks of experience playing against most of the cast. I would probably bump Zato up to like A tier. Anji, I honestly don't think Anji is too bad. And again, I'm looking at like Anji, like his neutral is really good. His buttons, some of his buttons are godlike. His 6P is godlike. His jump S, I believe, like the wide fan, that move is almost unstoppable. That's one of the best jump ins in the game. Like his space control is really good. So this is to me the same type of case as MK11. When MK11 first came out, everybody was on the Sonya train, and I'm like, this character is good, undoubtedly. I'm not saying she's a bad character, but right now I think she's only good because of explosive damage. She can make you explode in like 2 hits. That's really what made Sonya really good when the game first came out. She had some mix, she had decent buttons, but I'm looking at the things other characters can do. I'm looking at the mix from other characters. I'm looking at like her mix is not compared to some of these other characters. Her mix is very straightforward in my opinion. If you were mid-screen, you block overhead because you didn't want to get launched. If you were in the corner, you block low because then people start learning how to do the what is it? It was back one forward into ring cancel combos. That did mad damage in the corner if you had the execution for it. So if you're in the corner, just block low. But yeah, so and now Sonya, like people saying Sonya's like what? I saw Rewind Chiller said like she was like decent. And the character the characters that I said in that game was a problem from day one with Cetrion. I was like, are people not looking at what she can do? And I really felt like people were only saying she was bad because she did no damage. I'm like, do y'all not see how fast she is? Her wave dash is insane. Her buttons are crazy. She has disjointed hitboxes. I don't care if she doesn't do 5,000 damage in a combo. If you can't get to her, hit her, how are you going to do damage to her? She has insane, the best zoning in the game, like how can you get to her? So I really just think a lot of times with certain tier lists, people don't look at the long term of like what characters can do. They just look at like what's the most easily digestible like elements of the game. That's damage. Everybody can comprehend a life bar going down. So if any character that can make that life bar go down super fast, they're probably going to be considered the best or really good. So, but you got to look further than that. You got to look at a character's tool set. What does this character have? I don't care if a character does 1 damage per hit. If this character has a tool set where you cannot do anything to them or get into them, or it's almost impossible and so hard to get into them, you got to work so hard to even get 1 touch. That character, I would say, is pretty good because it's like, what you gonna do? I did 1 damage in the combo, but you can't get to me. You can't get near me. I'm zoning you out. So I just think you got to look at things in a much broader spectrum. So that's why my tier list was the way it is. People like, I've got a lot of my friends like, man, Ram is not no one. I was like, look, I'm not saying I put her over Soul, and the reason why I put her over Soul is because her buttons. I think that Ramathal has the best buttons in the game. If you look at her frame data and her hitboxes, especially her hitboxes are insane. She doesn't have a hurt box on her 5S or 5H. Axel has a hitbox on his 5P. I play Kai now. I can literally from round start, if I think an Axel is going to press 5P, I can literally press 2H and get a counter into like probably almost 200 damage. Because even though he's not close to me, his chain is extended and I can hit him. But Ramathal is so hard to contest her buttons. She has a record that you can't really challenge unless you maybe do a DP. And DPs in this game are kind of weird to me. All right. Well, DPs in this game are kind of weird to me. So it's like you have to be so like strategic with things. But you know what? Y'all gonna see my tier list. Y'all gonna look at it. Y'all, give y'all opinions on it. I might make an updated one, but everybody's like tier list. But I just decided to put one up because that was my opinion. So that's my Mr. Game and Read section for today.